Walmarts in my area have decided to no longer be 24 hours a day. As of August 16th, they have signs posted up, as you can see here I put in this video. They have signs posted up that say they're going to be from 6 a.m. to midnight instead. This strikes me as extremely odd. I live in a very busy city, one of the largest cities in the world, and pretty much in the heart of that city, the two Walmarts that are in the heart of that city are no longer going to be 24 hours a day. That strikes me as extremely odd. Okay. And now oddity number 2 is this 500 days thing.
500 days to avoid a climate chaos. Very important issue of climate change, climate chaos, and I said that we had 500 days to avoid climate chaos, and I know that President Obama and John Kerry himself are committed on this subject, and I'm sure that with them, with a lot of other friends, we shall be able to reach a success in this very important matter.
Now, the rebut to it is that, well, he was talking about a conference that happens 565 days away from when he said what he said. Now, if what he meant was 565 days, well, then why didn't he just say 565 days? You know, he said 500 days. He said we have 500 days to avoid a climate chaos. Whatever that means, we're going to find out in September. And I think people should be prepared. Follow Christ. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Don't seek any revenge when people do things to you. Don't think evil against people. Don't imagine evil. Don't hope for evil against anybody. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. That's what God the Father came down from heaven as Christ and said. And if you believe that he came down from heaven as Christ, died and rose again, therefore he proved that he was God the Father, and you follow that simple law, you will be okay.
Good morning. My name is Carol Rosen. In 1974, after being a 6th grade school teacher, I was introduced to the late Dr. Wernher von Braun in the U.S., the father of rocketry. In my first meeting with him, during that first 3.5 hours, he said to me, "Carol, you will stop the weaponization of space." And I said, teachers don't stop until June. He said, "No, you have to understand. This is February. And we have to prevent the weaponization of space because there is a lie being told to everyone that the weaponization of space is now first being based upon the evil empire, the Russians. There are many enemies," he said, "against whom we're going to build this space-based weapon system, the first of whom was the Russians, which was existing at that time. Then there would be terrorists. Then there would be third world countries. Now we call them rogue nations or nations of concern. Then there would be asteroids." And then he would repeat to me over and over, and the last card would be the extraterrestrial threat. Well, at the time, I kind of laughed when he said asteroids, and when he said extraterrestrials, I knew I wasn't going to deal with that subject. And now we hear on the news just today, this week, that they've slid in another enemy. Only this time we're going to protect our satellites. In other words, we have to have some reason to spend these trillions, to waste these dollars on a space-based weapon system, and they're all lies. This is a system, he told me, that would never protect anyone. Even back then, he talked about suitcase bombs. He talked about chemical, viral, bacterial, biological warfare, that these space-based weapons would never protect us against. And then he told me that, in fact, if you travel around the world, which I did after he died in 1977, I met with people in over 100 countries who were friends. They didn't want to build space-based weapons. I became a space and missile defense consultant. And I worked with people around the world. I became an advisor to the People's Republic of China. They don't want to build a space-based weapons system. And he told me back then that they didn't. He said, go to Russia. They're considered to be the enemy. I got on a plane by myself. When I got to Russia, I had a list of people that I had read out of the newspaper. Chernenko was in office then. He was the only one I didn't get a chance to meet. They introduced me to everyone when I got there. And when I got back, I said, oh my Lord, this man is telling the truth. There is no threat. And I've been waiting until this day for 27 years, and I'm expecting the spin to happen, because he also explained to me that as a military strategist, as a person who worked on the MX missile, which I did later, he said, you will find that there is going to be a spin to find some enemy against whom we have to build space-based weapons. And now we should expect the spin, because he said part of the formula for the intelligence community is if they might have a weapon, then we have to consider that they do have these weapons. So now they do have these weapons, so now we have to build these weapons systems. And that's the formula, except that it's all based on a lie.